I'm here again to analyze episode 6 of the OA. Down, down, down to the lies for number 73. We hear Buck listening in on a conversation that we can assume are between his parents, and we find out that Buck does not have a father that supports his decision to be transgender and still calls him Michelle, which now makes it a confirmed 5 for 5 that all of the group of 5 have these troubled, broken homes. And because Buck is not supported by his father, that makes him all the more willing to cling on to OA and experience the friendship, the support system, the deep connection, everything that everyone else has been proven to lack in their lives. Now we see that Buck also lacks it in his life. Then I have another smaller detail, which is where I think it's Buck walks into the drug house and OA says, "No, we waited for you." But they were practicing. They didn't wait, they were already doing stuff, and it's just one more example of OA doing her double talk. Oh, and then I actually wrote this down to refer back to episode 5, but I forgot to put it in there. But that was where Homer meets Renata and she asked how old he is and he starts freaking out saying, I don't know. And that makes no sense because when OA first met Homer, he knew that he had been there for exactly 1 year and 36 days. So not only was he tracking time, but OA keeps mentioning things like it took a year, it took 2 years. She keeps mentioning time passage over and over and over again. So even if Homer got depressed and stopped keeping track of time, OA was, so I don't believe that Homer had no idea how old he was. Then back in episode 6, Renata makes mention that the NDEs have this amnesia side effect that are possible, and that's why sometimes the captives have no idea what happened on the other side. Isn't that a convenient way to clean up your story so that you don't have as many details on something that maybe you should? Which is really funny because OA has a lot of details for the real world that she should not know, but then in the other dimension where there's no real way for the group of 5 to fact check that, OA plays it fast and loose a lot to where you don't really know what's going on or how this works when they travel. I guess maybe they don't either, but still, if she's going to explain things and have all these specific requirements, then there should be reasons behind that. And I'm going to break this off into number 77 in the lies column because the amnesia is why OA had to carve the symbols into her back. And she says that all the other captives did it too, so that way they wouldn't forget them when they came back from the other side. But that makes no sense. That's not really how amnesia would work. I mean, if the captives really had amnesia as a side effect when they came back, then wouldn't they forget about their mothers? And if not, and it's really a specific isolated type of amnesia where they don't remember the other side, then why would they forget the movements if they knew them before they were traveling? And why does the amnesia only involve the movements and not anything else that's going on around them? Shouldn't they be waking up and going, who are you? I've never met you guys before. Why am I in a cage? This short-term amnesia excuse attempts to explain why OA has those scars, but it's in a way that doesn't make any sense if you actually listen to what she's saying. But into the truth column, number 19, OA's scars on her back are real. We get to see them as the viewer in real time repeatedly. And I finally did get a good shot of what her back looks like, or at least a decent shot. And I made the argument in one of my OA theories that I don't think she could reach back that far because I can't even reach the back tip of my shoulder blade, let alone draw on it. And I still am going to insist that those scars could not have been self-inflicted. If someone can take a Sharpie and film a video of them making the exact same scars in the exact same place when you're not able to see what you're doing, like don't stand in a mirror or anything, then I would at least be inclined to say, okay, she could have done those to herself. But then how did she get the sharp instrument to be able to carve into her own skin? I don't think Hap is going to give them anything that they can really commit suicide with. Sure, yeah, we see the captives using razors in one episode, but have you ever tried to break one of those disposable razors open? It's really hard, and not only would you have a good chance of shredding up your fingers in the process, but then you would have to draw these detailed symbols blindly, including things like circles and straight lines that you're not going to be able to do without seeing it. And with how far back those scars go, there's no possible way that I believe she did that to herself. So I'm gonna say the scars are real. I give her credit that they're real, but I do not believe that they are self-inflicted. Going back to the lies column for number 78, when OA describes the other dimension and how to get there, all she really does is describe the many worlds theory, which again is something that is plentiful in information out there in the world, and OA could find any number of ways to learn different little details about it so that she could craft a story that sounds believable. And it's just like when she describes Devil's Breath. She puts the description out there, she brings the group of 5 to it, and they draw the conclusions from there so that they feel more invested and they feel like, oh, I've heard of that before, so it's true. Another lie I have written down is that OA basically admits to Broderick Allen that she has no idea how the traveling part of this works. And this reconfirms to me again that I have no understanding of why OA was so panicked to find the others, because for all she knows, Hap can't complete the movements because he's never had an NDE. So if you don't understand how it works, why do you put so little faith in the actual system that might work to save your friends? Because for all OA knows, she could have called the police and they could have found Hap and freed everyone. Well, you do that because you know you're lying. Next, I put that OA mentions it had been 1 year since Renata got her movement, but Rachel has been there so much longer and they never really do anything with that character. Why does Rachel's movement never get mentioned? Why does Rachel and OA's relationship never get mentioned? Rachel is so completely passed over in almost every episode. She has so little to do with anything. I'm very confused by that since they had so much time to develop a bond. Number 81. OA knows the very detailed conversations between Hap and Dr. Leon, right down to which sandwiches they ate. There's no possible way for OA to know this. Even if I take a step back and say maybe Hap is telling OA all of this information and all of these conversations and details that she shouldn't know, we see that Hap absolutely does not want to talk about this situation when OA questions him later. And OA goes down and tells Homer that she's really confused about it and she thinks maybe this or she thinks maybe that. So she should have no idea what happened in that discussion, in those meetings. The next lie I took note of was how Hap drowned Dr. Leon in that purple goo. And it seemed very clearly to me that it was the same kind of purple goo that August was in earlier. Yet, when Hap takes out the drawer and looks at it, he says, "What am I looking at here?" Like he has no idea what the stuff is. So how did Hap use that purple goo to keep August fresh, but he has no idea what he's looking at when he's at the morgue? Now I'm finally going to go back to inconclusive for the first time in a while for number 28 on that list. And I'm going to note that Hap says he found the same sound with the NDEs that relate to the rings of Saturn. And the show did a really bad job of explaining that or going anywhere with that, but maybe season 2 will have the answers that I'm looking for here. So I'm just going to put that down in inconclusive because the show didn't know what to do with it, so neither do I. But then back down to lies. Number 83, that sheriff comes back and he busts Hap dead to rights, gun to the guy's head and everything, and Hap manages to talk his way out of it. Now, I put that in the lies category because so many people have commented to me that Hap was in cahoots with the FBI. Well, I think this moment would prove that he's not in cahoots with the FBI. If Hap was working with the FBI, then he could just pull out a business card of an FBI agent or someone from Homeland Security or wherever else and give it to that sheriff and have him call in and confirm that, no, you can't touch this guy, get out of there. Or Hap could have said, call this in to your boss and have them check with these people, and they could go through the proper chains and come back and say, no, the FBI is handling this, you don't touch it. Even if that couldn't happen fast enough and the police came in and freed the captives and took Hap away in handcuffs, the FBI would figure this out and release him, set his workshop back up, and let him get new captives right away. Plus, this sheriff is breaking and entering, so anything he finds inside of Hap's property would likely be thrown out and called inadmissible in a court of law. So there's really no way for this sheriff to win this situation if Hap is working with the FBI. So not only is this yet another part of the story that OA should not know the details for, but it completely debunks any idea that Hap and the FBI were working hand in hand. Up to inconclusive for another what the heck was this moment. We see Buck's dad go and close the front door, which is supposed to be a big deal problem issue for the OA. OA says in the first episode that they have to leave their front doors open to let her in, but it's never explained any further than that. And there doesn't seem to be any consequence for Buck's dad shutting the door, so I don't know what to do with this. But that's what I have for the end of episode 6. If you're keeping score, that's 19 for truth, 29 for inconclusive, and 83 for lies. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed enough to like, subscribe, and share this video. I've also got a lot of other videos on my channel that you are fully encouraged to go check out. Plus, you can find me on Facebook at Say Halo Goodbye, which is my gamer tag, or Twitter at _Fanily.